It was a bright and sunny day on May 26, 1990. Marlene Warren was just 40 years old and she lived in a nice home with her husband Michael Warren and 22-year-old son John Ahrens in Wellington, Florida. That morning was just like so many others. She had no big plans for the day. She was simply sitting at her kitchen table and sipping coffee, talking to her son and a few friends who had stopped by and were talking about what they could do that day. All of a sudden, the doorbell rang. Marlene wasn't expecting anyone. There's no way she could have known the horror that was standing on the other side of the door. Still, she got up and walked across the living room and much to her amazement, a clown was standing there with a bright reddish-orange wig and large red nose and full makeup and costume. What the hell was this? At first, she was amazed and happy. The clown had flowers and a balloon which she handed her, but that happiness soon turned to terror when she saw what the clown was holding in her other hand, a loaded gun. Marlene didn't even have time to blink or even turn away. The clown lady then fired the gun point blank into Marlene's face. The clown lady didn't even bother running away, even with a house full of guests who had seen and heard it all go down. She simply walked out to a 90s model Chrysler LeBaron and drove away. Although there had been several witnesses, when police showed up and began asking questions, none of the friends or family could agree on a description of the clown lady killer. They focused their attention on the description of the car instead. They didn't have to look for very long. They found it parked in a nearby grocery store parking lot. The car still had wig fibers from the clown wig and a grocery store bag from the store where it was found parked. There were no fingerprints and DNA wasn't yet that advanced. The police first suspected Marlene's husband Michael. Spouses are usually the first ones police look at when something like this happens. After some diligent police work, they discovered that he was having an extramarital affair, which definitely didn't make him look any more innocent. After running the VIN number on the white Chrysler, they soon became even more suspicious of Michael. The car traced back to his own car rental dealership. He came up with a convenient reason though. He claimed the car had been stolen. Of course it was. Sarcasm intended, anywho. He also claimed that there was no way he could have done it because he was far away on his way to a racetrack in Miami, Florida. His alibi checked out, so reluctantly, they removed him from the suspect list. Although they knew that he may have not have been the one to pull the trigger or wear the wig, they still wasn't 100% sure that he didn't have something to do with it. Yeah, no shit. After more digging into his personal life, they discovered who he was having an affair with. Her name was Sheila Keen. Sadly, Marlene knew about it before she was killed. In the weeks leading up to the murder, Marlene confided in her parents about the affair Michael was having and that there was a lot of tension between them, so much so, she even told them if anything happens to her, that it was most likely Michael. To have to fear for your life from a man who is supposed to love you is a very sad and tragic thing to have to live with. When police found out who his mistress was, they soon focused in on investigating her. That's when they found out that she had worked as a repo woman who did repos for the company that Michael owned. They now knew that both Michael and Sheila were most likely involved, but the issue was proving it. Without direct evidence, the case didn't hold water. They decided to focus in on the actual clown costume. That's when they hit the jackpot. There were only 3 stores in the area that sold clown costumes, so, police sent investigators there to see if they could find anything. They showed a photo lineup and asked the store clerks if they recognized any of the women in the photos who may have purchased the clown costumes. They did. They remembered Sheila for the odd way she was acting. Sheila showed up at the store, just as they were about to close. She was asked to come back the next day, but she insisted that she needed the costume right now. It forced the clerks to stay open much later than they normally would, making them remember her more easily than just an average customer. Sheila had just sealed her own fate. Another bit of evidence that helped arrest her was the store bag in the car. With the store's name on it, they went back to the store where the clerks also remembered selling her the balloon that was given to Marlene. Although evidence was piling up against her, police didn't have quite enough to seal the case shut. That was about to change. As it turned out, Michael wasn't exactly being a law-abiding citizen either by any means. He was racking up charges very quickly such as racketeering and tampering with the motor vehicle by running back the odometers and selling them as better cars than they actually were. These charges all added up to the tune of a possible 200-year prison sentence. Unfortunately, the hug-a-thug judge felt that police were persecuting poor Michael over his wife's murder, so instead of life, he got a measly 9 years. He was released in 1997. Afterward, Michael and Sheila were married. Ironically, even though police knew they were both involved, it was Sheila's own son who hurt the case the most. He had told them that the clown had to have been a man, which helped Sheila go free initially. The case grew cold soon after and sat in the cold case file for years, until 2017 that is. Police retested the evidence and a DNA match came back to none other than the woman they had suspected all along, Sheila Keen. They soon set out on her trail, only to find that her and Michael had not only gotten married, but they had also bought a huge brand new home, and fast food place called the Purple Cow that did a booming business. How would you like to go out for a burger knowing it was probably being served by a cold-blooded murderer? Anywho, their house of cards were about to fall in fast. They both swore their innocence, but police had enough to charge Sheila. She has been in jail since 2017. Sheila was also denied bail because of the seriousness of the charges and because she is too much of a flight risk. Her trial has been delayed 6 times and as of right now, her latest court date will be October 21, 2022. Let's hope she never sees the light of day again. If you like today's story or love our type of content, please consider subscribing to our channel by clicking the subscribe button and ringing the notification bell so you'll always be alerted when we upload new content, which is usually once a week. We'd also love it if you'd consider clicking the description box below for links to follow us on all our social media, or maybe even picking up a really cool Graveyard Dance t-shirt, coffee mug, hoodie or other fun merch in our shop. Thank you all so much for helping support us so we can have the chance to bring you the creepiest content each week. If you have a story suggestion, please mention it in the description box below. Till next time!